What's up, Luke?
Hey, Britt.
New double cobra, double cobra today.
That's right. That's right. It's long been sitting in almost finished land, but it's finally done. Super psyched.
You know what I didn't realize we never completely talked about is how double cobra formed.
Um, you know what? Basically, it came down to this. The Pen 15 Club still existed on paper, but
Right.
that's about it. And a gig came up. Someone offered us a show, and it was like in September. And they said, "Hey, do you want to play with us in May?" And it was like, I guess if I'm still alive in May, that's like
Yeah, I
September to
get where
May
you're
was a
going.
long stretch. I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And we probably need that amount of time, Pen 15 Club that is, to get it together because we've just everybody's in different cities and
Yeah.
tell you about that.
Right.
Um, but anyway, so I set out to like book some rehearsals, and
Mhm.
between September and May, we found 2 days on which we could all be in the same room at the same time.
Yeah.
And that meant me driving from LA to Santa Barbara to do it.
Right.
And I just thought, you know, I'm cool with just keeping that going to whatever
Yeah.
extent
There should
everybody
be
can
more.
sort
Yeah.
of evenly
Yeah.
do it. But I have way too much going on in my head and in my
Yeah.
fingers to like just have it rely on that kind of thing. So I was like, I got to do something else that
Yeah.
like it not necessarily a replacement, but I got to have another thing that I can
Yeah.
do. So I hit Old Faithful Jeffy Boy up, and I was like, dude, you want to do something? Because I he's as down as you get, and
Yeah.
he's around. He's in
Yeah.
LA, and that was sort of my stipulation is whoever we get, they just have to be into it and um and available,
Yeah.
doesn't have to, you don't have to like chain, you know sell your soul for rock and roll. It's just something that's a little more
Yeah.
feasible. Um and I had been already working with Dan from Kill Lola, the drummer, on a lot of commercial work, and so that was sort of a no-brainer. It's like, Dan, you want to do this? And he is funny, subsequently has become pretty busy. But and then I ran into my old buddy Tommy Black at Trader Joe's, and
Not
we
the
were kind of,
Viper, Trader Joe's.
yeah. um and, we're walking around, I run into Tommy and Marshall, and we were kind of talking, and I was asking him what he was doing, and he was kind of saying like, I wish I had something going on, because
Yeah.
Scott had passed away, and he was like, I don't know, he was just
Yeah.
he didn't have anything going at the time that he was into, I guess. And I think even Marshall was like, you guys should play together. And like, it was weird. I just went, wait a second. Yeah, do you want to do this thing? And that's where, that part of it came together. And yeah, I've got a picture that I'll send to you, but it's of our first get together,
Oh,
which
I
is
love it.
that weird.
Yeah.
Only in these times would you have a picture of that, because it's like, hey, Instagram,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like what you wouldn't do for the first, you know, Guns N' Roses rehearsal, or
Totally.
a picture of that. But I actually have that of our.
That's amazing. And now you have two great bands, Pen 15 and Double Co. It's just the energy of that different group of guys, two
Yeah,
different things. You know what I
it's
mean?
it's all. No one would flinch if the music swapped
Yeah, yeah,
names. It's nothing's totally different, but the energy is definitely very different.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
But you're kind of right. I was wondering what comes first with the songs and double, and maybe they changed riff or melody or song. What's the writing
It
process?
almost, like, I would say 90% of the time with me, a riff, and it's not a complete hashed out song, but a riff, a good thing, and maybe another part guitar wise.
Right?
And then I start humming melodies over it, and it sort of finds its way um, to the end. But
Yeah.
always riff, and then the melody kind of jumps in, and words are usually towards the end.
Okay.
you know.
And then what was I gonna say? Now this song, I realized I'm not gonna listen to it till we all listen to it together.
All right.
I'm gonna do that thing where I
Very
do
you.
check the audio. I'll check the audio
Right.
to make sure it's there. But it's an MP3. It's not like a video where it crashes easily. Not good.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna experience it with everybody. And does this song have a riff? Because I know emotionally we've talked about this is a different type of emotion. It's
It does. This um it's a riff less so in the vein of Kick It Loose, where it's a single note
Mhm.
riff thing. It's not Kick It Loose has chords in the chorus, but the verse is pretty much these single note noodles, you know.
Okay.
This is more chordy throughout. But it is a riff nonetheless. And it's actually a riff that I have had since Silverjet, since the 90s, and tried to make into a song. And it just, I couldn't get past that first part, you know, that how that happens when you're writing something like this
Oh
is
yeah.
great, but nothing sticks to it that's good enough to be with it.
Yeah.
And I finally came up with that thing uh, while writing stuff for Double Cobra, and I was like, oh, those two things go together, and that's what this is.
You hope they go together. You
Yeah,
hope think they're good.
yeah,
You're throwing it out there to the world today.
yeah. Um, but I at this point, like when I've been trying to put that circle in a square for so long that by the time this other part came along, I was like, finally, you know, this is these things work. So it's the verse and how the song sets up is the thing that I've had since the 90s. And then the chorus is the thing that came along, you know, 2 years ago or something.
And we were talking, both of us, we've never cared more, and we never cared less about music. In a different, it's a duality, right?
Totally, totally. That's it's the zen that comes along with age. If you're not like a, you know, one of these people getting, you know, Botox and
Yeah, we're not like
oh,
we're gonna be main skinned or whatever, however it said this week. You know what I
yeah,
mean? You're just
totally,
like
yeah,
we're not looking. We're doing maximum us. We've talked about becoming
yeah,
what we
eh,
dig.
totally. And man, I don't know. I mean, there's a million sayings about it. Like I
Yeah,
wish I knew then what
yeah,
I know now and stuff. But like I I've never like sold out to someone else's concept musically. But
right.
certainly in the 90s, I was like, I'm gonna lean a little more on my pop thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna lean more Cheap Trick than I am Aerosmith, you know, because that just felt like that was gonna be better for me in Los Angeles. That just wasn't whatever that just seemed better. And now I don't care about any of that. I just don't, you
yeah,
know, and I just like what am I into and what stokes me, and that's the only thing that matters. And the upside of that is you're going to find your people quicker, I think. Um, and your people just might be less than, you know, if you're trying to go lowest common denominator, there's more people in that jar than
yeah,
there
yeah,
is in the specifically weird cross section of stuff that I'm into.
yeah,
But yeah, that's totally true. You never cared more and never cared
yeah,
less. Like,
yeah. And what room in your house? Where are you sitting when you're writing most of your guitar? What's the positioning? What's your most go to? I know I have this little sit. I have an outdoor and indoor area for me, and they're both they mean a lot. Literally put one arm chair up on the arms. Like my
yeah,
ritual, we have our rituals.
it's weird that you asked that question now. I guess, I mean, probably where I'm writing most of the music that I write now is literally in this chair where, and at this computer set. I don't know, it looks like I'm in a bar, but you know, my office, I'm
Yeah,
sitting in that
yeah,
office
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
pretty much where I do most of the stuff. But, um, uh, I spent a lot of time living on my own or with one other person that wasn't around much. And in those times, I'd say like on the couch in my living room would be a place that I would often come up with stuff. I think I've mentioned this to you before, but some of my best ideas come when I'm waiting for like Erica to get ready, like when we're gonna go out.
Yeah.
And so I'll pick up the guitar because I'm like, well, I have 10 minutes to kill, which isn't enough time to do anything meaningful, but I feel like playing guitar, and I'll pick up the guitar and something will come. And it's weird. It's just the 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 sort of absence of pressure to do something cool makes something cool happen.
Well, it's immediacy, and that's what I've told you. Like, I think that's some when we were kids because we rented the studio for this many hours, so immediacy had to
Right.
occur. Whereas now we don't have to have immediacy, and I think we get punished for it. It is cool
Yeah.
that we have the iPhone. We always have a recorder for those ideas. I mean, I know I had a micro cassette,
Yeah.
but so what do you just throw them in the iPhone, the ideas?
I I do. But man, I still have not fully learned the lesson of like, I will be sitting there at night and go, oh, that riff, that's too good. I'll never forget that. I'll just wake up and deal with that tomorrow.
Yeah,
And
it always goes
lo and
like that.
behold, sleep, it just off into the ethers. And I've still lose songs like that.
Wow. And
Stupid.
now I was even thinking of this. That I had it. You're such a guitar player that we don't focus on that because you do a Twitch show, you sing. Well, how many effects do you use? Because it seems so primal, but it sounds so good. Do you use what's your lineup that your guitar goes through?
Well, at this point, there's this is mostly the thing. This is the double Cobra. The Telecaster through the camel toe is
Really?
is the main um thing. Um and then I got into
And what does
because
that do for
it's overdrive and distortion.
okay.
It's a triple overdrive.
Okay.
Um so but while you're bringing that up,
Yeah, I love it. I thought that'd be like,
um
don't look behind the curtain. Don't look.
yeah. So uh as people that listen to my um, Twitch stream will know, uh, I'm super into this band called Deep Valley from Los Angeles,
Yeah.
and they get this tone. The chick in that band just gets this insane tone, and I hear it in other things too. I've heard it like in the Dead Weather, um, but this also has been getting utilized, which is a thing that sounds like it's not on any of the songs that are out right now, um, but it's on a song called "Let Me Get to You" that will be on the Double Cobra record. Um, and this is a rad pedal. It sounds like I don't know how to describe it. Royal Blood kind of has a similar vibe too.
Well, I always wanted the Tom Peterson Gonna Raise Hell tone.
Yeah,
And someone I forget that was just so you don't need it. Just go. I bought the Pog from Electro Harmonics. I got this
yeah.
board and I plug my bass in. It just blows my. I mean, it breaks a lot. It's actually one of those good pedals. Usually break a lot. You know what I mean? Like because they got a lot going on.
I've had that both of these repaired.
Isn't that funny that the ones that do a lot usually
Yeah, and I
when
don't
you're
tour or anything. Like,
yeah
why is my
they
stuff
just
broken?
um so that's cool. So but you don't have a 10-foot pedal board with I remember being when you record at Rick's and I don't know if you used it, but you're
Yeah,
late for a mix. I've memorized that pedal board against the wall in the studio.
totally. I've gone through phases where I've like want that stuff, and what ends up happening is you play shows, you know, at the Redwood or at the Viper Room, and it's all throw and go so fast that like anything that complicates that moment and takes you out of your head. And for me, that's
Wait,
like,
should I not bring my girlfriend to shows, you mean?
uh,
Yeah.
that's
All right. Well, we'll
you're
cut it
onto
there. Cut
something.
it. Yeah, I'm
You're
on
onto
this.
something there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's like it can mess with you if something, and then you're trying to figure out if you have a bunch of pedals and then your signal's not happening, it's like which one of these things. And that's the other thing is you make these pedal boards that are so ergonomic that like you have to like rip things apart
Yeah.
to
We
get a
always know the
cable out.
guitar
Yeah,
player just
and
showed us down there. How many times? Well, you're
so
doing it. I've seen it 1,000
yeah,
times.
so um, man, when Silverjet was on tour in the '90s, my setup was just this. We were a three piece, and I used to sort of simulate a 4-piece by bringing 2 amps.
I remember that,
And
the stereo.
yeah, so I would have the Marshall a half stack behind me, and then the matchless on the other side of the stage. And what I would do is the Marshall would always be on, and then I'd kick the matchless on for like choruses and stuff like that. Um, but no effects. It was just one box to get it to go to both, And those were that no distortion, no nothing. It was all coming out of the amps.
It's that AC/DC aerosol
Yeah,
purity.
and I like that's the tone I pretty much want. But I will say for Double Cobra, it's not like I want a bunch of sauce like effects and things. I just but a slightly gnarlier tone, I guess. So that's why I'm using these things.
Because it is important. Like for you purists, like Dave from Blackboard Jungle, someone gave him a DoD board with like 5 pedals,
Yeah.
and it was our sound.
Right.
And we're playing it, and that was his sound. That's all he knew. That more than, and we played Arizona, and some kid spilled a drink in the fucking pedal board, and I've never seen a meltdown. So, and it was he eventually, but in the middle of
What
the
did he do?
tour,
Did he replace it, or did he just?
I don't even know. It was just insane. He probably hair dried it and fixed it.
Right.
Because they couldn't know. They were old. They were a weird form of old pre-eBay. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, like I said, the telly through the camel toe is becoming at least my portion of the identity for Double Cobra.
Yeah, because there's a sound. It's pure, but there's a sound. There's a
Yeah.
like.
So if that goes away, I'm gonna have to sort of calibrate what I'm used to.
And where did you record this song? And this one, because everything's recorded a little bit differently.
Yeah. Most of the record we did right here where I'm sitting.
Right.
At my house, and then a couple of the songs we did at the Foo Fighters place, 606. That's where we did Kick It Loose. But this one, Flying By, we did here at the house.
Oh man.
And it's weird, like there is aspects of the, whatever that place costs a day, of that type of studio that sound better or different or whatever. But like, I think when the day comes that all these records, I mean, all these songs are sitting on this in the same, body of work, and people listen to it. Well, for instance, Kick It Loose and I Ain't Dead Yet. Kick It Loose was at 606, the Foo Fighters place, and I Ain't Dead Yet was at my house. And it's like, they're different. And there's things about, in particular, the drum sound at 606 that are pretty undeniable. But it's not like, whoa, what happened?
No. And
Where did
that's
you
what I was
take
asking.
this song, So it's
Remember,
like,
I was asking you about the bass and Not Dead Yet. It sounds like 50 SVTs, and you're like, no, Tommy just plugged directly into my Pro Tools.
yeah, it's a cable going into a gray box.
It's like,
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. It's that's why big recording studios are all going under, is because they're really not necessary. Are they cool and awesome? Yes, but necessary, no.
I think the best thing about them, and I just threw away a whole session for one, is is the immediacy.
Mm-hmm.
The pressures, you know what I mean? Someone like, get it done.
Yeah,
That's
it's like, here we are.
That's the best thing. You got to get it done.
The moment, yeah. And for me, that was a cool experience, because if we're recording at my house, I'm doing two things. I'm like trying to make sure my band is bitching, and also trying to make sure that the session is running along smoothly and that everybody else is happy, and that it's, whatever. I'm sort of, it's two different headspaces, and it's fine. I don't mind that.
Three different singer, guitar player, producer.
Yeah, and producer kind of thing.
And you're not a control freak, which is even weirder.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Erica might beg to differ on certain things like that, but yeah, I do. You know how it is. There's people in bands that have a life that they just do. They are they're an accountant, and they handle their business, and they've got 401ks, and they don't worry about the song and the blah blah blah. And then they come into rehearsal, and they've feel they've got the same authority as you do on
Yeah,
this
yeah,
thing that
yeah,
you
yeah,
spent all this time and
yeah.
sort of, you know, you forego sort of a normal life. Not,
Yeah.
and I'm by all means, I'm not saying like whip
No.
out your small violin for me, but it's just a different thing. It's like, I put so much time into this, like I'm going to be a little bit more attached to it than to have you just come in and throw your two
Well,
cents
well,
in.
it's life because it's like my dad comes in. My mom spent a year planning the painting of this house,
Right,
walls and like just crying, talking to me, calling people samples, everything. And my
right,
dad, who does not know paint, has
right,
to say something. So he walks in with a commentary and sends it into a fucking tailspin. And
right,
see that, and he just had to talk to move his mouth after he walked in. It really depends on what he ate for lunch, whether he liked his lunch,
right.
what's going on. And he just set this woman that just bled for a year with painters and getting
Just
it
thought
right.
so much about it.
Yeah, to
Yeah,
have
that's a
to like
total,
in the band room, so it can apply to many things in life.
totally. That's a perfect metaphor for that. But um, that's another cool thing about the age thing is um, everybody that I play with has either good ideas or they don't bother. They're not super concerned with like, it's like, and I do that when I play with other people. I pretty much like tell me what you want, until something comes to me and I'm like, hey, I had this idea, but I'm never like, I got to jam a certain amount of my ideas into this rehearsal or else it's not going to feel like I did it or something, I don't, whatever.
Dude, like you said, I'd love to just play bass in my band. It'd be amazing. I mean, and Blackboard Jungle, you ended up playing bass on this. So I just don't care. You get a point
Right.
where as all the books that you extinguish your ego. And I think it's an ego that we think we've extinguished our ego. Maybe we have an ego about not having the ego.
We've pivoted it.
Yeah, yeah, yes,
You,
yeah,
for you, I would feel like it's writing the song is the part of it
yeah.
that where you're like, your identity feels acknowledged and that, yeah, that's me, that I wrote this song. Um but the bass is more just like
Yeah.
I'm the bass player, so I'll do the bass.
Yeah, and it's almost as a kid, I never understood how Gene Simmons wouldn't show up for Kiss recording sessions but as I get older, I love Gene. He's just like,
Right.
I'm part of the concept. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
totally.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
no,
important.
that's funny.
I'm important at this point. Now I get it. He's like, I'm not
Totally.
gonna make a movie. You guys do your thing. Let Kiss guys. I freely establish this style. Let someone else do it better. It's kind of a
Yeah,
bitch.
totally. As long as it's in the style.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
funny. I was talking to somebody about I remember bands going, like someone would be at a talk show and the host would say like, uh, so you did this duet with blah 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 blah, and they'd be like, I did, and I'd always be like, what do you mean you don't remember doing? You know when you did a duet with blah blah blah, and now that stuff's starting to happen to me. It's like
Oh,
with
dude.
age, it's you start to care less about certain things, and your brain can only handle so many, and it's like it's kind of like that. It's like, yeah, it can't be whatever.
And it might not even be cared less or as much as not attached to and
Yeah,
love it,
yeah.
trusting the people around you. Like it was funny the other day, like you say, like we were on Twitch and you posted a Hanoi Rocks emote, and I was actually jealous. Like, who's on our trip that's doing Hanoi? And you're like, that's your
Yours.
emote.
Yeah,
That was mine because Jezebel has all
yeah.
sexy shit. I was like, that's pretty cool. Then
In the 90s, he'd be like, next time you want to just go making an emote, you want to run that by me first?
oh yeah. I just read a thing where Slash and the big GNR videos didn't care about the concepts. Axel was onto some concept. He just wanted to play guitar. And at the same point, he thought every day might be his last. And in one of the videos, he was playing guitar, and all of a sudden, three choppers came, and they were getting so close. He goes, "Oh, I'm gonna fucking die today. This is probably it. I'm gonna get hit by." And he's like, "I really thought it, but I just had no idea. I didn't even ask. I'm like three choppers, and the wind's blowing in my
He didn't
hair."
bother to read the
Yeah, yeah. He just
treatment
put
for the video.
three choppers and him in a field. He really thought he was gonna
This
die.
is how I'm going out.
Yeah, this is
That's so funny.
Man, so I think we should listen to it, and I'm going to play it every hour today. We're going to play it every hour, once
All
an
right.
hour.
All right. Well, if your numbers take a dive, I'll just apologize in advance.
All right, here we go. New Double Cobra, people.
Flying by, folks.